guys, my name is Manan from Moody Data Scientist. In this video, we are going to cover all the Python list methods. So please just tag along. Okay, let's work on the first one. So if I have a list and I want to add an item at the end of the list, how can I do that? The answer is really simple. We are going to use the method append for that. So let's take an example. I'm over here. I'm going to say list, my list, equal to, I'll just take 5 elements in that. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this is my list. If I want to add another element, so that is number 6 at the end of the list, how can I do that? So let's see over here, my list dot append and 6. So the element 6 would be added after the element 5. Now let's print it out and see the output. So over here, I'm just saying print my list. So as you can see that 6 has been appended at the end of the list. So this is how simple it is to add an element at the end of the list. Pretty simple, right? Okay, now let's move to another one. We have learned how we can add an element at the end of the list, but what if I want to add the element at the starting position or at the middle position? How can I do that? For that, we can use a method known as insert. So it's going to insert an item at a specified position, or I can say a specified index. Now let's take an example. Again, I'm going to say my list. And in this list, I'm going to say the elements are 1, 3, 4, and 5. So there are 4 elements. And just looking at it, I can see 2 is missing. If I want to add 2 at the index 1, so what would happen? The element 3, 4, and 5 would shift to another position, next position. Let's see how that happens. So over here, I'm going to say my list dot insert. First, we have to see the index at where we want to put the element. So that would be at index 1. And what the element that we want to add. So that would be 2. Pretty cool. Now let's just print out the list to see how that's going to happen. I'm just going to say print my list. Let's run this. So as you can see that 2 has been added at the index 1 and the element 3, 4, and 5 have been shifted to 1 position. This is how simple we can add an element at a specified position in Python list. Cool. Now let's move to the next one. Remove. Suppose if we have a list and we want to remove an element from the list, how we can do that? That can be easily done using the method remove. So remove a specified item from the list. Now let's take an example. I'm just going to say my list equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, and 10. So this is our list. Now, if I want to remove the element 10, how can I do that? We are just going to say my list. I'll just change the spelling. My list dot remove 10. Pretty good. So just print it out and see the output. I'm just going to say print my list. As you can see that 10 has been removed. So easy. And this is how easy it is like to add an element at the end index or any position or to remove an element. Now let's move to another one, pop. Suppose if you want to remove an element, not by stating the element what it is, but by specifying a position or maybe just specifying the index. Now I want to remove the element which is present at the index 1 or maybe at the index 2. How can I do that? Let's see an example. I'm going to say my list. Over here, I'm going to say my list is consists of string elements. So that would be A, B, and C. Now, if I want to say that I want to remove C from the list, how we can do that by using index. So I'll just say my list dot pop index. So that would be index 2. And then we are going to print the list. I'm just going to say print my list. Now you can see that the element at the index 2 has been removed. This is how simple it is like to pop an element based on the specified position. So pop has another function. If nothing is specified in the index, it's going to remove the last element in the list. So now let's take another example for that. Just say, okay, I'm just going to copy this list. So this is okay, this is going to be my list. Now I want to remove C. So I'll just say my list dot pop. So what it's going to do? It's going to remove the element C or the last element in the list. Now let's print this out to see the output. I'm just going to say print my list and see it has been removed perfectly. And this is how the pop method works in Python list. Pretty cool. Now let's move to another one. Clear. Now if I have a list, then I want to remove all the elements of the list. How we can do that? Really simple. We are just going to use the method clear for that. Now let's take the list. So I'm just going to copy the list over here, my list. So I'll just say this is my list. Now I want to remove all the elements. So I'm just going to say my list dot clear. Now let's print this out and see what happens. I'm just going to say print my list. If forgot to add the parentheses. So this is how it's going to be. Cool. So an empty list has been returned. We have removed all the element of the list. Cool. Now let's move to the another method. Copy. Suppose if I have a list and I want to make some changes, but I don't want to make the changes in the original list. How can I do that? For that, we can use the method copy. It's going to return a copy of the list. Then we can make changes in the duplicated list and the original list would be untouched. Let's see an example to see how that works. So I'm going to say my list 1 equal to 1, 2, and 3. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a copy of the list 1. So that would be my list 2 equal to 2. Okay, sorry. So that would be my list 1 dot copy. So what it's gonna do is going to copy my list 1. So let's run the code and see the output ourselves. So I'm just going to print my list 2. So here you can see that my list has 3 elements 1, 2, and 3. So what's the use of this? So as I told you, if I want to make changes in my list 2, it won't be reverted back in my list 1. Let's see that with an example. So I'm just going to say my list 2 at the index 0. Let's change it to element 10. So what we are going to do, we are going to print both the lists to see that would it change in the original list or it would be just present in the duplicated list. So over here, I'm just going to say print my list 2 and print my list 1. I'm just going to, yeah. So as you can see that my list 2 has been changed. The first element is 10, but if you can see the original list, nothing has been changed. This is how a copy method works in Python. Really simple, really cool. Now let's move to another one, count. It's a really important method. Suppose you want to count the number of elements present with a specified value. So we have a list in which there are multiple duplicates value. How we can count that? Really simple. We are just going to use the method count for that. Now let's have a look at an example. So I'm over here. I'm going to say my list. So it is having a lot of duplicates elements. So I'm just going to say 3, 3, 3. So this is the list. If we want to count how many times the element 3 is present in the list, how we can do that? That is really simple. I'm just going to say my list dot count 3. Okay, I'll just add another 3 so that the output would be 4. Okay, wait, okay, we are over here. So I'm just going to say print. Let's just take the statement and the print, and yeah, you can see that it has counted how many times number 3 has been present in my list. So this is how count works. Real simple. Now let's move to another one. Extend. Now suppose if you have 2 lists and I want to add all the elements of list 2 at the end of the list 1, how we can do that? The one solution to that would be just adding the element using a for loop or like on a while loop. Another would be just using the method extend. Now let's see how that works. So over here, I'm just going to say my list 1 equal to 1, 2, and 3, and my list 2 would be having the elements from 4, 5, and 6. Cool. Now, how can I add the elements 4, 5, 6 at the end of the list 1? Really simple. We just need to say my list 1 dot extend my list 2. Good. Now let's run this code and print my list. Real simple, you can see that the element 456 has been added, or I can say extended at the end of the malus one. Really simple to use. Now let's move to another one, index. Suppose if I'm getting confused at what index a specific element is present. So this happens when we have a large list. So how we can do that? We can do that using the method index. Now let's take an example to see that ourselves. Over here, I'm going to say my list, and I'm going to take around 10 elements in that. I'm just going to take random elements 3, 8, 9, 10, 34, 67. Okay. Now, if I want to find the index of the element 76, at what index position it is present, how I can do that? I can do that using the method index. Now, let's see it ourselves. I'm just going to say my list dot index, and I'm going to pass the element 76. Let's have this in the print statement, and let me run this code. So as we can see that the output is 9, so it is present at the index element 9, index value 9. Really simple. So this is how index works. Now we are going to move forward with another one. Suppose if we have a list and we want to reverse the order of the list, how we can do that? As I have told you in the string method, we can do that using slicing. And another example would be using the method reverse. So we are going to use both the solutions. Now let's take an example. Over here, I'm just saying my list 1, 2, 3, and 4. First, we are going to use the slicing method. So I'll just say print my list and double semicolon -1. Now let's run this code. The elements have been reversed. How can I do that using the method reverse? So I'm just going to say my list dot reverse, and then I'm just going to print my list. I'm going to comment this one. Now let's run this code. Again, we have the same output. So this is how a reverse method works in Python list. Very simple. Now we are going to move to the last one, sorting. Now if I have an unsorted list, how can I sort it? We can do that using the method sort. It's really simple. Otherwise, you have to do binary iteration, and it's going to take a lot of time for that. So let's use the sort method for that. So I'm just going to say my list. Let's take a list in which we have unsorted elements. So I'm just going to say 4, 6, 2, 1, 10, 9, and 8. So this is an unsorted list. How we can sort it? So we are going to sort it using the method sort. So I'm just going to say my list dot sort. That's all. And then I'm going to print my list. Let's run this code. Okay, as you can see that the list has been sorted in ascending order. Really simple. This is how sorting works in Python. So in this video, we have covered all the 11 methods that the Python string has. In case if you have any question, please write them down in the comment section. I'll meet you in the next video.